Welcome to our morning show on WRCO Radio. We're here to talk warm thoughts about baseball and all kinds of outdoor activities. Chris Clerkin is in here today with us, along with Ryan Lemke, Richland Center High School co-principal and head baseball coach. Chris Clerkin, assistant baseball coach here in Richland Center, and really involved with the youth. So, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did either of you ever get a baseball glove or a bat under the Christmas tree when you were kids?
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got my the glove that I still use out on the
Really?
field. I got sophomore year for Christmas, and it was one of my favorite gifts of all time. Just that smell. Opening up present with that new baseball glove smell is amazing.
Yeah, isn't that something? Is there a player's insignia on that glove or
Nope.
not? No.
Nope, just a Wilson A2K. It's little. It's 10 and 3/4 inch glove, so it's small. But I still have it, still use it. It's definitely seen better days at this point, but it doesn't smell like it did when it opened.
Remember getting that and putting the ball in there and wrapping up a belt around it, to get it formed for the pocket and everything. So,
right.
Good stuff. The insignia on mine was Dave Kingman. I don't know if you remember him or not, but if you look up Dave Kingman, he was strictly a designated hitter, like a power hitter. So to have a glove from a designated hitter, that said a lot about my career. Well, we're talking youth baseball, Chris. You've got a special night coming up here in early January, don't you?
Yeah, January 8th, we're going to be at the Phoenix Center. We're doing a spaghetti dinner fundraiser. This will also be our sign-up night for the Diamond Club. So when the kids get back from Christmas break, January 2nd, I believe, is the day that I'm going to go meet with most of them. But they'll get information packets and sign up registration forms. But then that January 8th will kind of be our sign-up night to start off the year. So if everyone wants to bring that in, turn in at that point. Otherwise, we can sign up that night. We can sign up a month later. It's fine with me. But that's kind of when we're going to kick off kind of the year with, our beginning fundraiser, try and bring some money in and then get kids signed up.
What are the grades that you're talking about when you talk about youth baseball in Richland Center?
So the Diamond Club is a 3rd through 8th grade program. So we combine 3rd and 4th graders into a group, 5th and 6th, and then 7th and 8th graders will also have a group. So.
And that's for the summer leagues that you're going to be?
Yeah. So we're going to, I'm not going to start off early. Most Diamond clubs or baseball clubs in general will start off basically in like February and March, and they'll actually start playing, indoor facilities and that. But we're going to wait closer to the end of the school year. More than likely we'll start probably about June, somewhere in there. They actually start practicing, then getting into tournaments and stuff like that. So.
And that's good. I think sometimes if you start too early, there's too many school activities that are still going on during that time.
Yeah. This is going to take up a lot of time with the kids because we're going to focus on practicing and getting these kids better. It's a little tough, especially early, April and May, around this time to get outside. Usually it's a little bit soggy and wet still. And you get some good days, which you take advantage of those. But the other thing is I coach high school baseball, and that's, that takes up a lot of my time as well. So we got to find time in there to get the kids out. And if I'm dealing with that, I don't have time to deal with putting my time into the Diamond Club with coaching a team. So I like to push it a little bit further along towards the end of the school year to where, our high school season is, get into the playoffs, depending on how far we go, but still, school's winding down. More time's going to be available once that is finished. So,
is the spaghetti supper, is that a fundraiser then?
That is a fundraiser. Yep. So what we're asking is anyone that's I believe it's 12 years or older will be $12 for the dinner, and then anyone that's I want to say 6 up to 12 is going to be $5. Anyone 5 and younger is going to be free. So we'll do spaghetti. We'll have drinks, probably garlic bread, breadsticks of some sort. I haven't quite figured that out yet with Greg down at the Phoenix Center. But we're going to offer a full meal for everyone. And then during that event, we'll talk about, kind of what we're expecting from the kids, what we're expecting from the coaches, kind of the overall vibe that we want to get from this Diamond Club going forward.
The money raised, do you have a specific goal, or is it just for operation?
Right now, any money that's raised is going to go towards paying tournament fees, equipment that we're going to need. I've got a bucket of baseballs that have kind of been given to me from other coaches from the past. Mike Davis, he's got an old bucket. Dave Darling gave me an old bucket of baseballs. So, but baseball is a big part of this game, so I'm going to need to buy some of those, and they're not cheap in any way, sense of the word. So, so there's a lot of equipment I do have to buy. Insurance on the kids is, it's a cost year after year. But it's just a general fundraiser to get money in so I can start booking tournaments and getting a schedule together.
Yeah, those are some things that we don't think about. Insurance is a huge thing.
And that's and a lot of times when you go to these tournaments or you use facilities at the school, you have to have insurance in order to use that kind of stuff. So, I deal with youth football, and that's usually a $500 to $600 expense every single year just for 5th and 6th grade tackle. So, I mean, it's a expensive little piece of it, but it's very much needed.
I think the skills part of it is very much needed. You're the high school baseball coach, head coach, Ryan. As you look at that, you like to see players come in to high school having some of those basic things down, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We've run into some situations where we've had some players come in as freshmen, and you can tell that they're very, very raw. They're very good athletes, and their ceiling is very high, but in terms of understanding the game and some of those fundamental skills, they've been missing. So I think that's what the Diamond Club intends to help fix that, bridge that gap a little bit. We understand that kids are busy in this fast-paced world that we live in now, and they're constantly going, but at the same time, we want them to have those skills and spend a little bit extra time on baseball. We love three-sport athletes in the high school game. You think of the big three, football, basketball, baseball, you throw wrestling in there, whatever it is. I mean, we love a well-polished athlete, but we also love freshmen coming in with fundamentals and basic knowledge of the game as well.
You've had a few freshmen play for you right away on the varsity?
Yeah, we have. These are kind of the type of kids that I'm talking about. We know as a freshman they have a lot to learn, right? But when their talent's there and they're able to win not only a roster spot, but in some situations a starting spot or some sort of role, they've earned that, right? I mean, it's not a senior automatically is handed the keys to the kingdom at whatever spot. That's not how it works. It's based on talent and work ethic and coachability and all those factors that go into play and winning those spots. So we've certainly had that, but it is nice when we get a freshman in that's played a little bit more baseball, that understands the game more, and we don't have to kind of coach those fundamentals up for him. And then they put themselves in a better position to make a varsity spot when they play more baseball and they're learning the fundamentals along the way because they're ready. Right, a lot of times they're ready. Maybe not, in some case physically. It takes a year or two for them to get to where they really want to be. But we've certainly seen freshmen be successful at center.
Being the co-principal too, students that are involved, you can see maybe a difference in somebody that's really involved and connected with the school.
Absolutely, and not only that, like when students are involved, just everything seems to improve. Right, grades, their behaviors, everything, just them as people, community members, all those things seem to be awesome. And sometimes you see a little bit of a trickle down when that sport or that activity ends for that year, right? We run into that from time to time with students that are student athletes that are so hyper focused on doing what they need to do to be able to play that sport or do that activity, and then when that activity or sport ends, okay, they kind of lose that little motivation piece. So we encourage our students to be involved as much as possible. or we talked about 3 sport athletes, that's great. But even if you're just a baseball guy, you only play baseball, we encourage you to get involved in something else. FFA, something to keep you busy throughout the school year. I know that was a little FFA plug, but it could be anything, right? I mean, just stay busy with whatever and get involved and meet new people and just help our community out and stay involved in things.
Has it been a good start to the school year at Richland Center?
Yeah, start the school year. It's Christmas break, so I know. Yeah, almost halfway there. But yeah, it's been a great year so far, and we anticipate that to continue. We've got a great team of staff in our building and in the district. So I can't say anything but positives about Richland Center High School at this point in time. We're not. Mrs. Perkins and I, the other co-principal, were never okay with just staying right where we're at, right? We're always focused on improving. We talk to parents about that. We talk to students about that. We talk to community members about that all the time. It's truly the way we are. Like, we're going to constantly continue to try to improve. And I think our staff has done a great job with that. Our students have done a great job with that. Our district administrator, Mr. Board, has done a great job, and our school board. I think we're all on the same wavelength now, and it's been amazing to see. It's been amazing to be a part of, and I'm really happy to be a member of this team.
Officer Jared Wilson in the school as well. That kind of changed things, but now it's the second year. It's kind of the norm, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the man. We love having Jared around. He's a great person. He's great at his job. The students love him. So it's been an absolute great fit. I think you're right, Phil. Initially, it was like, okay, there's a police officer in the school for a lot of students. They were trying to feel out what this was going to look like, right? And now that they know him and they understand like his role, and he's really there to ensure the safety of everyone in the district, as well as make sure everyone's following laws, but. He also he does an amazing job at getting into classrooms, teaching lessons. He just taught a lesson the other day in a careers class. He taught a math lesson. He was in a social problems class last week talking about deviant behavior. He's all over the place. He does it all. If I could clone him, I would. He's been an absolute great add to the district, and we look forward to having him for hopefully the next 30 years until he retires. We'll see, though.
when that was all signed and said and done, I don't know if he thought he was going to be like in the classroom as a teacher from time to time.
Yeah, we've even talked about him leading a hunter safety class. He's got certification for it. He'd be great. So we got to figure out what that looks like and when we can get that off the ground. But he's been an absolute perfect fit. He loves being in the classroom. I know he goes down to the primary and intermediate schools in his classroom quite a bit too. He just solved some crimes, and I'm air quoting. He solved some crimes of, I think there was a missing gingerbread man or something like that he went down and helped solve that crime. So he's been great. He's been a great teacher from the lessons that I've seen. I just hear nothing but positives about him.
Oh, that's awesome. Good to hear that. So you're going to look at, a half day of school today then, and then the break for all the staff as well?
Well, yeah, no, we're officially on winter break. Winter break started on Friday, so we're on winter break, and then students are back on January 2nd. So a nice little kind of extended winter break this year by a couple days, just the way Christmas and New Year's fell. So well-deserved break for everybody, but we're super excited to get everyone back in January 2nd and hit the ground running. And then we have a couple weeks left of second quarter, and then second semester starts, third quarter, and off we go.
How many days until pitchers and catchers report to the Hornets?
Yeah, I was looking at it. March 17th is the day, so not counting minutes, but the temperature outside's a little warmer today. It feels like March baseball-esque, so maybe we'll get an open field going out there and get some snowballs flying. Who knows?
Well, I see that forecast for Saturday, and they're saying 51, and you've been out, and I've broadcast on days where it wasn't that warm.
Right, yeah. Maybe we'll petition to the WIA to start a little early or something. We'll see.
But we do want to talk a little bit about the Hornets are going to have a spring trip this year. Tell us about that.
Yeah, super, super excited about this. It's our first time. I know Chris mentioned Mike Davis. He was one of the former baseball coach at Richland Center. He used to do a trip up to Minneapolis to play in the Metrodome, I believe, back in the day before they blew that thing up. But we're going down to Missouri this year, so we're going to a warmer climate. First week in April, and we're going to play high school teams down there. We're going to do a college visit, a university tour of the University of Missouri. We're hoping to get in their baseball facilities and their football facilities and see, so that we can have a kind of a sneak peek and backstage look into what it looks like to be a D1 athlete and what those student athletes put in. And we're really excited about it. I know it's pretty funny. One of the coaches that we're scheduled to play against, he has a right-handed pitcher that throws 95 on his team, and he is projected to be a top 10 pick in the MLB draft. So I asked him kind of jokingly, can we just see him for an inning? Just throw him for an inning, right? That'd be a fun experience for the boys. That's one of those games. If you foul tip a baseball, you're pumped about that. But,
sure.
Yeah.
Made contact.
Right. Exactly. Put it in play. Everyone's pumped. So no, we're excited to go down there. It'll be a great experience. It's a good team bonding experience. I was able to do some of these trips in my previous playing days and coaching in other states. So I'm super excited to bring that to Richland Center and go on a nice week-long trip and get some baseball in.
This is, as you mentioned, probably a first because you've done some trips like one-day trips, but for a week. I've heard other schools do this, but did it take a lot of planning to put this together?
Yeah, it's taken a lot. It's been about a year-long process, and we're still not completed with the planning steps, but we purchased our Airbnb. All the boys and coaches are going to stay in an Airbnb together, which will be great. Can't wait for that. And then parents are gonna, if they attend the trip, they can stay in a hotel just so they can watch some baseball as well. But a lot of planning has gone into it. We've figured out our drivers, our van situations. We just had John Bosworth, Mr. Bosworth at the high school. He's donating his time and renting a van for us, so he's helping drive down there as well, and our coaching staff's excited to get down there. But yeah, a lot of planning that's gone into it. We still have a lot to plan. We're probably going to ramp up that finalization of all the plans after winter break, after the holidays, and be ready to roll and be super locked in for it.
Do you have some fundraisers involved for this then?
Yeah, we do. We've done a lot of fundraisers already. We've put ourselves in a really good position to be able to do a trip like this over the last few years. And the hope is to keep this an annual thing, right? We can continue to go on something to maybe a different location every year. Who knows? We'll see. A lot of fundraisers going. Our normal concession stands that we do at the high school. We'll do our Jones Chevrolet cookout again, which is always a great one for us. And just a whole bunch of other ones. We'll get involved in the Booster Club calendar raffle. So we're involved. We stay involved, as well as another fundraiser that I'm hoping we can get off the ground here. I'm really excited about, but hopefully more details to come on that one.
All right. Stay tuned, I guess,
right.
In other words.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So the games that you play there in Missouri, do they count toward your regular season record then?
They count on our record, but they would not help us in like a playoff conversation or anything. We couldn't go into the playoff meeting and say, yeah, we're 12-4, and 4 of our wins came from Missouri. That it wouldn't work out that way. So when you're looking at playoff seeding, it's all just in-state.
Team bonding is a big thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's. I think that's going to be the best thing for us. Not, I believe our team is in a great spot and we have good chemistry amongst players. But just to go on a trip together out of state and for 5 days will be a great experience for them. And we hope to come back out of that closer. We've got some fun plans as a coaching staff to kind of encourage some of those bonding amongst players that wouldn't normally hang out all the time, right? Those groups naturally happen on a team a lot of the time. So we're going to do everything in our power to kind of create one unit on this trip. So it'll be great for them to experience.
Does the poor old assistant coach get to go, Chris?
Oh, yeah. I plan my vacations. We have to bid our vacations at Frito in November, so I had to get my week in order to go, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. So
that'll be awesome. Did you get a chance like that, an opportunity when you were in high school?
No, we never did that. I guess Pat Riley and Brian Bradley never wanted to take us out of state, and we may have been limited on if we could leave the state to do sporting events like that. But
yeah, out of the county maybe, in some regards.
Maybe, yeah.
But that's going to be a great opportunity. Can you see that as a real building tool for the Hawks?
Yeah. Anytime you can get out and just get away from the natural, area that you're in, and just be uncomfortable in any situation, kind of forces the kids to really rely on each other. And that's really what we're looking to do when things are uncomfortable. Who am I going to turn to help me out? So I think this trip is going to be something new for them to try and figure out. But ultimately, I think this is going to be a positive thing for them.
And I think you get the jump on other teams because they might be still standing in snowbanks, and you'll have a few games in.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to field a white baseball in the snow. So, any chance you can get to play games earlier in the season, it's the better it is for you. So, we'll take advantage of this.
The rule changed some years ago, limiting innings and pitch counts. Certainly that's developed more pitchers, but I can see this as an opportunity to throw some more guys and give them a chance, right?
Yeah, give guys more innings, put them into situations they don't normally, get into as a starter or as a reliever, throw them around into different situations, just kind of see what their mindset is. That's a big thing. That I was concerned about when I was a catcher was, how is he going to do in this situation coming into a game we're up 3 or 4 or we're being blown out. It's always something you have to have in the back of your head as a catcher, to make sure that your pitcher's, in the right mindset, and the rest of the fielders as well. So it's, this is going to be a very good experience for these kids to try and really learn the game of baseball and to really figure themselves out and how to, put out their best effort on the field.
Did you throw many innings as a pitcher or not?
No, but I have thrown probably the most in a game just because I catch every pitcher out there, but I've never thrown from the mound. They keep me behind the mound, so, out of the eye of everyone else.
Yeah, you think of the number of throws that a catcher makes, and then if you have a double header thrown in there somewhere along the line.
Yeah, you can talk to my shoulders about that because they don't throw a baseball very often anymore.
Yeah, interesting. Well, it's good to talk baseball. We'll come back and talk more with Chris and Ryan in a moment here on our morning show from WRCO. We're talking baseball on the morning show and youth-related activities here with Ryan Lemke, Richland Center High School co-principal, and Chris Clerkin, assistant Richland Center baseball coach. Chris, you have a youth skills camp coming up in the spring.
Yeah, we do. I haven't finalized dates necessarily yet, but what we're kind of looking to start is about April 12th. We're looking to do these on a Saturday, April 12th. So we're going to be about 6 weeks. We'll do every Saturday. Times, haven't finalized it again, but we're looking probably about noon is when we're going to start. Only an hour per section, so we're going to do a hitting section, pitching, and fielding. So we get 3 different sessions. You can attend any of them that you want to. We're going to go for 6 weeks, and I'm only charging $25 to attend. You can attend all 6 weeks, all 3 sessions every single Saturday, for only $25. So that's a fairly cheap. Basically, it's just paying for insurance. Not looking to make this necessarily a fundraiser, but just want to get the kids out there, moving around, before the season starts. And if they can pick something up and learn and retain it, that's a thing that youth kids struggle with sometimes, but just to get them out there thinking baseball before we start the season off. So that information will go out with kids once I hand out all the information. When you sign up, I'll have all that set. So.
Very important. And I think we talk about that in other sports too, where just going out and scrimmaging, you don't necessarily learn those skills. It's nice to take them aside, I'm sure, and kind of work specifically.
Yeah, and last year I had the opportunity to coach my son in 3rd and 4th grade baseball, and when you have 14 kids on one team, it's kind of hard to, individualize, and try and focus on one kid. Not saying that I'm going to focus on my own kid because, he's around the high school team all the time and seems to be far more advanced than most kids are. So, But it's getting those kids out there, giving them an opportunity, not to necessarily have to rush the learning progression. But it's also, we're going to have coaches out there. I've reeled Ryan into helping out. I've got a buddy, Danny Sullivan, you may know him from my high school days. He'll come out and help. And then I've got the other coaches on the staff that'll come out and help. We'll force the high school kids to come out and help as well. There's no restriction with them during season to help out with camps. So, but anytime you can get those guys around the youth, I think it's a better opportunity and a better environment for them to actually learn, pick things up, and then just have fun while they do it. So
that's the key right there, isn't it?
Having fun. Yeah, I mean, it's a game, and if we can have fun while we learn and get better, the thing I tell, any sport or any team that I coach, I tell them that the only way you're going to have fun is if we win, and in the process of trying to win, if you can make that fun, it's going to make winning even better. So,
by bringing some of the high school players in as well, they probably look up to the high schoolers and want to impress them more than they do the coaches, don't they?
Yeah. Anytime, I can pull, I think I had Lane Miller fill in for me a couple times last year coaching. I was doing something, had to take me away, so I would find a high school kid. Usually it was Lane Miller because he's, he was a senior that year, very knowledgeable in baseball, but he's, he's kind of our team pet to kind of pull and do things that most others don't want to do. So it was an easy one just to pull him, bring him down, and have him with the kids. And, Carter just loves Lane Miller. I mean, he's one of his boys, him and Brady Dosh. But having those guys in front of the youth, it kind of brings them almost back to when they were playing. They were looking up to those high schoolers when they were in 3rd and 4th grade. So anytime I can do that, I'm going to give them the opportunity to be able to, instill everything that they learned, and just fully understand the cycle of, sports. Know where you started, know where you are, and then think about where you're going to go.
We talked about this before we started. I'm not sure how many young guys, young players watch Major League Baseball anymore, but do any of them, the youngsters, emulate or want to emulate a Major League player? Do you hear that so much anymore, guys?
Well, the thing with Carter is he emulates everybody that he can, associate with. Giannis, Jordan Love, you name it. If he's a fan of them, he's going to do exactly what they do. And it's actually funny, this last year during summer baseball, he's out there pitching. In 3rd and 4th grade, you can't steal and you can't lead off from a base, but Carter's on the rubber. He'll look over to check the runner at first, do his windup, throw the ball. There's certain aspects of the game that, in 3rd and 4th grade you don't have to do, but he saw Lane Miller do it, so he's going to do it. When he's up to bat, he does the same warm-up that Lane does, points the bat, gets back, takes a swing, gets ready to go. With these younger kids, I think they watch more of the high school kids than they will pros in college. So again, with getting those high schoolers more involved and getting them in front of them, I think that's going to drive, just the popularity and the love of the game a little bit more with the youth than, necessarily watching pros. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you wonder about, pro baseball will probably always be around, Ryan, but certainly young people aren't as into it as we were growing up.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. We were talking a little bit about, in the fast-paced life that these kids live, they always have a phone in front of them. So if a game's on TV, we're noticing that, they're more driven to their phone than what's on the screen in front of them. They're double screening it at certain points of the day, but if there's a game on, they're on their phones a lot of times and just kind of interested in what's going on in that. And we see a lot of benefits in watching baseball, right? And obviously those athletes are the best in the world in the MLB, so the success rate is a little bit lower than it is in high school. So that could, for a high school athlete, they could say, it's a little bit slower. It had a lot more strikeouts, things like that, and routine plays are truly routine 99% of the time, and even those spectacular plays seem routine to those guys. So it's hard for them to kind of engage those games, I think, a little bit. But during the season, it's interesting. We do hear our high school athletes talk about the Brewers specifically, and big time plays, or if there's a brawl, we'll hear about it in practice, things like that.
Yeah.
Those exciting moments we still hear about, which is good. It gives us hope that our high schoolers are still engaged in the MLB and what's going on in the league. And they like to give me, I'm a White Sox fan, and the White Sox had the worst the worst season of baseball in history last year. So they didn't let me live that down. They definitely knew what the White Sox were doing. And when they won, which was only, I think, 38 times last year or something like that, they definitely let me know about it. So
it was a rarity then.
It was an absolute rarity. They were terrible.
Who was your favorite White Sox player growing up?
Frank Thomas.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, my coolest baseball moment I've ever had, I was probably 12 years old, and it was Comiskey at the time, Comiskey Park, where the White Sox played. It's changed names probably 3 times since then, but we hustled in. It was 2001 season or something. Frank Thomas was on the DL, hustled into batting practice. We caught the White Sox finishing up, and Frank Thomas is messing around over by third base. He's a first baseman or a DH, right? So to see him at third base he was clearly just joking around and coming back from an injury, and fields the ball. Nice little backhanded pick, one hopper pick. Fields it, turns the crowd, and I'm standing there, a little kid with a glove, and throws me the ball after he made this great play, and then walks over after batting practice and signs it for me. I still have that ball proudly in my house to this day, and it was just a cool moment. And those are the things, like, we encourage our high school students and even our youth baseball players to go to games, get there early, go watch batting practice, because those moments, I mean, I'll remember that till the day I die, right? Everyone won't experience something like that, obviously, but just those little things, right? I brought my son to my oldest son to a White Sox game a couple years ago, and he still talks about it, right? And he was 4 at the time, and it's amazing the stuff that he's remembering from when he was 4 years old at a White Sox game. They lost like 12-3, so it wasn't even a great game to watch, but still fun. So it's awesome when youth baseball and high school baseball players are involved in the MLB.
Yeah. Way back, now this is before you guys' time, but when the Braves moved out of Milwaukee, there was this gap of about 5 years where there wasn't Major League Baseball. The White Sox actually played games in Milwaukee. They played, I think, about 15 games a year, and they were shown on Madison TV, so I actually remember seeing the White Sox.
Well, I'm sorry you had to witness that, because I'm sure they were better.
They weren't that good, I don't think. But
probably not. It's going to be like this for who knows how long.
Takes a while to get out of that slump, doesn't it?
This is rough.
Yeah, that's awesome. But you had, living in Arizona, too, you probably had experience seeing major leaguers fairly close up, didn't you?
Yeah. I was spoiled. Phoenix area, I should say, is like baseball heaven. I mean, it truly is. And it's like the one thing that I miss about, people talk about the climate, don't you miss it being warm? And no. All that can go away if I can just get spring training back again. I mean, it was awesome. February to March, end of March, you can pretty much wake up on any given day and say, you know what, I'm going to go watch 2 or 3 games if you want. So you can do that in a day. You can hit a morning game, spring training game. You can bounce around to another stadium and see a night game. It was awesome, and just the intimacy of you and the players down there. Everyone's. One, the competition is awesome because guys are trying to make the team. Okay, so that was fun, but just they're loose, they're relaxed, they're excited, they're refreshed to be back in the game. So they're loving being around the fans again, and they're willing to sign autographs, come talk to you. I think I talked to former White Sox third baseman Todd Frazier. who bounced around the league for a bit. I think he was on the Reds for quite some time. Decent hitter. I talked to him before a game, and I jokingly invited him to Chili's with my wife and kid. And he turned me down, but
man,
yeah, I know that would have been funny. It's a really cool experience for anyone that's a baseball fan that hasn't been to the Cactus League down in Phoenix and Arizona to watch some spring training baseball. I would highly recommend it. One of my mentors, Ken Theed, went down there a couple years ago, and I essentially wrote him a 4-page document on places to go, restaurants to go, games to see, watering holes to visit, all that stuff. And he took as many he took me up on as many of those recommendations as possible and had a blast, and he still talks to me about it. So highly recommend the Cactus League. I'm looking to get to the Grapefruit League at some point and down in Florida and experience that side of it. But the nice thing about Phoenix is the rain is very few and far between. So Florida's got those storms that kind of delay some things. This is, if the game's scheduled at 2 o'clock, that game's probably going to be played right at 2 without any delay. So it was great. Great, I miss it.
I'm wondering, because around here, the big talk is, athletes specializing and things like that. But a baseball player could play year round in that area. Do you see athletes specializing a lot more?
Yeah. At the high school level, not so much, especially in a smaller community such as us. Our athletes, we have to spread them out. We want our athletes to go play football, play basketball, go wrestle, play baseball. But baseball's the only thing in the spring. Let's just talk about that. It's the only thing you should do in the spring. No, I mean, we don't see it as much as I think bigger communities do. You get into the Madisons and Milwaukees, you for sure do. Down in Phoenix, we had, if we had a 2-sport athlete down in Phoenix, I coached at a big high school, it was a rarity. So we definitely saw a lot of specialization in one sport down there. Baseball's, just because of the weather, the climate, it's a bigger sport than it is in Wisconsin, right? I would say baseball's probably number 1, maybe number 2, right behind football in Arizona. So it's neck and neck there. So you see a lot more specialization there, and in the warm weather states and bigger communities, but in smaller communities, you'll see more athletes spread across the board.
The athletes that stand out, certainly they have God-given ability, but a lot of times they put in a lot of time too. They just don't stand up there and become, a pro, do they?
A lot of time, and we'll talk. I know Chris talked about Lane Miller a little bit ago. He's graduated now, he's gone, but just talk about time commitment. I mean, with working on baseball skills, pitching, hitting, tee work, all that stuff, it was countless hours. I mean, winter months, nasty. February, it's -10. He's at the Gap working on a tee drill, right? Or his dad's up there throwing him BP. It takes time. It's one of those games of repetition. And he put in that time, and it showed because he ended up winning Conference Player of the Year as a senior. So that's where I was going with that. Like, all that time he put in as a kid and through high school working on those baseball skills paid off. Now, I'll say this on the radio, and I'm going to encourage him to listen to it. We would have encouraged him to be in the weight room a little bit more, certainly, but those baseball skills he was constantly working on. So, and credit to him, and it paid off where he was Conference Player of the Year.
Is he playing this year then?
Yeah, he was playing at Western Tech. Had a little bit of setback, so he's going to miss the season, but hopefully going to get going again next year.
Okay,
yep.
Sounds good. And even as a broadcaster, sometimes, players stick out. And you mentioned you're going to be potentially seeing somebody that throws 95 miles an hour while you're in Missouri during that spring trip. But I can hear by the catcher's glove lots of times, you can tell. And you being a catcher, who's the fastest pitcher that you ever caught, Chris?
It was Danny Sullivan.
He threw
mid-90s.
Mid-90s, wow.
Probably didn't have the control that this kid from Missouri has. Usually if he threw a curveball, he was going to hit the kid. But yeah, Danny, I think at his fastest was topped off about 92, 93. So, I mean, it's different as a catcher. When you're trying to catch 92, 93, you got to know where that ball's going to be and have trust in the pitcher that he's going to throw where your glove is. But yeah, it's a different different game when you can have a pitcher throw that fast.
But you can't just step up there and throw 95 miles an hour. That takes you got to build up to that, don't you?
Yeah, and I'm sure if you talk to Danny, he would be in the same boat where he's putting countless hours training, getting his arms stronger, getting his whole body stronger in order to throw that fast.
For youth baseball, and that's another thing, there's a fine line you want them to develop. You don't want them to hurt their arms and things like that. What are some things that you strategize with there for youth pitchers? So with youth pitchers, there's not necessarily a pitch count that's kind of a rule based upon how many pitches a kid throws. But one thing that I've kind of focused on, knowing what we have at the high school, is I'm going to try every kid out to throw. It's not going to be the same kid that throws every single game. I'm not going to have one pitcher on the team. So every kid gets a chance to throw. And that gives me a chance to work with them just to get their knowledge a little bit further along than kind of the kids that have come into the high school program. I'm sure Carter knows just about as much as a freshman coming in on how to pitch. So the more time I can get with them to get them to understand, these are my mechanics. This is how I need to move. As long as I can throw a strike, I'm fine. It's when you start getting wild, start hitting kids. That's when the game kind of gets out of hand. So the sooner we can get them to kind of focus and pay attention to what they're doing with their mechanics, how they're throwing it, the faster along they can move. And by the time they get to high school, now we can actually dial some things in. If you need a third pitch, if you need a fourth pitch, we can work on it at that point. But it's kind of hard to do all that when we get them at the high school level and we're still working on the basics. So that's going to be our huge focus with the Diamond Club is this is how we're going to train. This is how we're going to progress. By the time you get to high school, you're going to be better than most of those kids, that are already in the program. But you're going to have a good starting point when you get there because of all the stuff that we worked on since third grade till you get to high school. Do you have a website where folks can look up information on the Diamond Club?
I don't have a website, but you're free to go to Facebook and look up Richland Center Diamond Club. Okay. That's where I'll post all of our pictures, information, how to sign up. You can send me a direct message. If you know my phone number, you can send that to me as well. Or you can email richlandcenterdiamondclub@gmail.com to get a hold of me. So,
parents, you want to get your kid excited in that, kind of thing. So introduce them to it, and as you mentioned, go out and have a little fun this year.
Yeah, and that's the goal because numbers is a big key. And I think, last year we had 35 kids out for baseball. We had 36 kids out for football. So just to see that comparison, that baseball has just as good of numbers as football does, which football should be double that, But as long as we can have numbers, now we have options and possibilities, and just having those many kids out, it makes it easier on us. It really does, just with options that we have to put kids in different spots.
And you did have at least one or two run track as well. I think Teague Perkins ran track for you.
Yep. Teager was kind of doubling up for us last year. He's one of those crazy, awesome athletes that come through every
Naturally
now
gifted.
and again. Right, just strong kid, awesome, great person. Just love to have him around. But yeah, he doubled up with track and baseball last year.
Yeah, so some kids can do that, that's for sure. Well, let's go over, you're going to have the big spaghetti night on January 8th. Once again, could you go over the times and how that's going to happen?
January 8th at the Phoenix Center. We're going to go from 6 to 8 p.m. Prices I'll have on our Facebook page, and then I have some flyers out there as well. But the most you're going to pay is $12, and then $5 for kids age 6 to 11, and then it's free for kids under 5. And then during that time, I believe we're probably going to go about 7 o'clock. I'll start talking, just going over some information on the season and what kids are expected to do throughout the season. What kind of sign up things we're going to have, opportunities to just overall improve the program. So all that will happen that night. And then if parents want to reach out, message me on Facebook, email, call me, text me, anything's fine. So.
You had youth football too. That went pretty well in the fall.
Yeah, football went fantastic this year. We added some new elements to it. We hosted our own flag football tournament. Still pretty small in comparison to other ones that are being hosted around the area. We had 3 teams come in to be involved with that, which was good to start smaller. So we can as we progress, work out kinks that we may come up with. But the kids had fun. Got nothing but positive remarks back from parents. So we're trending in the right direction with youth football for sure.
That's awesome. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Packer jersey that you have on there, that's awesome. I think they're going to win tonight then, Ryan?
Yeah. It'd be nice to see them keep rolling along the way they have been. I mean, we've been dominant here the last couple games, or at least last week against Seattle. So hopefully we can take care of a depleted Saints team tonight and keep moving in the right direction.
So you were a little bit wiser when you chose a pro football team when you were a kid. You were living in Chicago or near Chicago, and then like the Packers, man, you must have got beat up as a kid.
Right? Yeah, there was definitely some conflict in my youth for sure.
It's like Bears fans around here.
Yeah, exactly.
It was not enjoyable a lot of the times for me because all my friends were Bears fans, but and my whole family was Bear fan. I don't know how I ended up a Packer fan. I think it was just watching Brett Favre as a kid growing up, just a fun, energetic player, and the Bears were like they are now terrible, right? So it was just an easy pick as a little kid to watch this guy that was clearly having fun running around the field, competing, and just so picked the Packers and stuck with them all these years and very happy with my decision.
Wise choice, my son.
Right.
And Chris, you're wearing a Frito-Lay jersey there too. So.
Well, yeah, it's a sponsored event here. I got to rep Frito-Lay.
Rep Frito-Lay. Yeah. What's the biggest selling item these days? For
Doritos Nachos.
Doritos. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Classic.
They sell a lot at Walmart, so
you can't go wrong.
No.
We appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Merry Christmas, Phil.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Nice to talk baseball, a warm sport. Ryan Lemke, Richland Center High School co-principal and head baseball coach, and Chris Clerkin, assistant Richland Center baseball coach. And listen for further details on the upcoming Spaghetti Night and also the Diamond Club and the Youth Skills Camp they'll be having starting in the spring. This is The Morning Show.